Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, comics we want to read, and everything in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Planes, Trains, and Comic Books. This is our final episode of the Frank Miller universe, the Dark Knight universe.
Going out with a fizzle?
Fizzle, yeah. So last week we did like the last book, the main book called Master Race, is Dark Knight 3. And that's like a big, long, epic series. And then he did another one-shot this year, actually, in February is when it came out, to introduce little baby Jonathan to the universe more practically, I guess. And this one's called Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child. This one is written by Frank Miller only, no Brian Azzarello on this one. And the artist is, I think he's a European artist called Raphael Grandpa or Grandpa? I don't know. There's a weird accent on top. So
When Jordy Belair colorist, right?
Yeah. And I will say the art in this was really good. It was of the same vein as, we'll say, like a Mobius or a Frank Quitely or Jeff Darrow. It had a lot of like those dots and lines on everybody's face, and everybody was kind of not attractive for the most part.
Well, most of the characters fit this Dark Knight universe. So like the big baddie fits, and Carrie was a little, I guess, slimmer of a character, but she still had like, it was kind of square shoulders and the square jaw line. So it felt like it was still in the same universe.
It did feel like it was the same universe for the most part.
For it's artistically in the look of it, felt like it was in the same universe.
Yes, artistically, which is weird because, like I said, this is written by Frank Miller only. So like this is supposed to be, here's my next canonical piece, and then and even if it's not drawn by him, it should have the same feel of the rest of the books. And I did not feel that with this at all. We'll spoil the fuck out of this at the beginning. There is no Batman in this comic.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Dark Knight to return.
Yeah.
The whole comic.
Because it says The Dark Knight Returns.
So he's younger now, too. He was in the last one, Master Race, if you guys listened.
Yeah.
He went in the Lazarus Pit. He's young again. Young, ready to...
Virile Bruce Wayne.
Bruce Wayne. So like, I expected like a team... Like, maybe Carrie's going to be Batwoman and kicking butt for a bit, and then they'll have a team up or at least something.
Right.
Never shows up.
They do not. And with the big bad that's in this, you would think, it would be more than just the kids fighting. I say the kids, but the younger versions of, the main characters that we've loved for our whole life. So, and I don't mind having these other characters be there, like Batwoman is a great character. She just doesn't.
Yeah, she developed great.
Yeah, she doesn't
throughout
do
the
anything
other comics.
She does stuff, but it's not like Batman would do, I don't think. It doesn't seem like either she's okay with being more like Jason Todd. You know what I mean? Like that's what Bruce Wayne was worried about with Jason Todd, was that he's going to be kind of like okay to hurt people who don't deserve it necessarily, or who are unarmed and stuff. And that happens in this book, and I was surprised that she was doing that. And then she was said like, and the boss, because she always called him the boss, she's like, and boss would be fine with it. And I'm like, would he?
Yeah.
And then when she told him about it, she just said like, clown down. And then he was like, thumbs up.
Batman thumbs. Yeah. Okay, he was in it via text.
Yeah, via emoji. It wasn't even a text.
That's true. And you knew it was him because it was a bat thumbs up because it had the gauntlet. Yeah.
So I guess we'll get into this. It is only like a 60-page comic or something. So
it's a quick read.
It's a pretty quick read. I mean, if we'll see, maybe in context of whatever the next thing he does, maybe this will be redeemed. I did not enjoy this though, for the storyline especially, and then in context of everything we just read, all the last 4, those were all great, or like at least fun, And this was like, I don't like it. I don't know what's up, So what should say? It starts off. We get little baby. The first page is little baby Jonathan, and he's I think he's where he is on the last page of the one shot that was in Action Comics one shot from Master Race, I think it's the same shot as that or very close to that, because it's like, this is the only appearance of Superman in this. Superman's talking to Laura and he's like, hey kids, blah blah blah, I gotta go to work like usual. And then like Jonathan's there and he's thinking in his head. So you see he's probably like 2 or 3 in this at the beginning, and he's already like thinking in big.
Yeah, he's got a lot of thought bubbles, and he's obviously very advanced for his age. So we're like, okay, what's gonna go with this? And
so the first page is that him thinking about, oh, mom and dad, and them talking and blah blah blah. We're in Metropolis, so you see like he's advanced for his age. And then the next page is like him and Laura, and it's like it just says a few years later. Him and Laura are like above the city, and he's got like little pants on, little shoes on, little jacket. He looks all cool and everything. He's definitely older. I don't know what a few years is. It could be 5.
it's
it
between
could
like
be
5
3.
and 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So he looks like he's, like you said, between 5 and 8 years old, basically. It's hard to tell because he is so advanced in the way that he thinks about stuff that you can't judge him based on how he's thinking about stuff or what he's talking about. Because he full sentences, no weird. I don't know if you've ever talked to a child, but they're like, and then the dog ran over to the ball, and like that's a 10-year-old or whatever. So Jonathan is like, I fully understand what's going on in humanity, and I understand complex ideas. And he's like, what, 5 to 8 or something?
Yeah.
So
there's one line I remember from that first little part is that it struck to me is that he said that everybody chatters and he listens. And I was like, okay, so that I get it. So yeah, he's like paying close attention to things, but still, like that isn't like we don't really get an explanation of like how he's this way, or is it just because he's the offspring?
Right.
So was Laura this exact same way, or like until she became like, I don't like humans.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing. Laura seems to have backslidden into her nationalist ways. She's been reading a lot of I don't know, Turner Diaries or some shit, because she's totally like back to, hey, humans are ants. I don't like humans. They're dumb. Why do we even care about them? It's like, didn't we already go through this in Master Race?
Yeah, we had a whole long series about this.
And it's been like we said, 3 to 5 years. There's been no personal growth in Laura at all. And she's a cool character. Why is she like not growing as far as like learning stuff and whatever? So that was one of my main gripes in this too, is Laura's just the same as she ever was since Dark Knight Strikes Again. In Dark Knight Strikes Again, she's like, why do we care about these humans? And it was a little more nuanced in that one because it's like her introduction to Batman and those people and all that. And then in Master Race, it gets escalated to, her taking the side of the Kryptonians over humans. But then she's supposed to learn, oh, I was wrong, and this is, this is what I'm learning.
Develop as a character.
Yeah, so I don't know why they're doing that, but they did. So they're flying around town, and her and Jonathan are like arguing about, humanity and how he's arguing for humanity. Like, oh, look, they're great. They help each other out. And she's like, they always get sick and break down. And, they're like x-raying like hospital buildings with their eyes. And they're like, see, they always just, break down and whatever.
Yeah. She's like, they eat, sleep, have sex, and repeat.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. And then like, he's like, yeah, but
they care for each other.
Yeah. There's love and whatever.
You don't understand the human race as I do.
Yeah.
Well, why though?
Yeah, they have no like. How did he learn any of this about the human race? At least in like The Fifth Element, when like the perfect being is learning about the human race, she has like a encyclopedia online or whatever that she's going through and learning. There's nothing about this perfect golden child about how he knows this, who taught him this. Did he just intuit it from being alive? I guess I don't know. So yeah, they're flying around, and then they see like a disturbance, and the disturbance is there's protesters protesting a governor re-election who looks a lot like Trump.
A lot,
and talks a lot like Trump. So they have signs that say like "No more hate" and it's got his face on it. They never say his name, so we don't know if it's Trump or whatever. But it looks a lot like Trump. It sounds a lot like Trump, so it's probably Trump. And then,
but it's for governor, so
yeah, it's for the governor, not president. And so then we see behind them are all these like Joker boys, and they're there and they're just beating people up with like bats and chains and whatever. So they're attacking, and then this is where we first get introduced to Batwoman in her prime, and she comes in and she's helping the protesters beat up the Joker boys. She's protecting them, and she's using like psychedelics on them and stuff, which I thought was kind of cool. She said, Boss didn't really ever want to do this, but like I don't have a problem shooting people in the face with like LSD and then watch them like trip out. And that was another thing. So in this, Batwoman doesn't have like the same qualms about hurting people that don't deserve it, and even people that do deserve it, like these guys. There's the law and justice, which would say if you're punching someone or you're beating someone up, you should get arrested, go to trial for that, right? Like that's what Batman's all about. He's not like the Punisher or like Moon Knight or something where he's just taking them out and killing them or leaving them high and like leaving them with completely shattered legs, to never walk again kind of thing, like that seems a bit extreme, for Batman,
Yeah.
And even for this darker Batman, like the Dark Knight Batman, and it seems like these Joker boys are just, they're not mutants like in the first one. Like in the first one, the mutants were like skinning people alive, murdering them, killing them. These guys, as far as we know in this comic,
like an anti-protest.
Are just they're just anti-protest, but they are beating people up. Like they're physically attacking people, but it doesn't show them. It doesn't say they're murdering people or anything. So I don't know.
She specifically even says she's like, I'm not as gentle as Batman would be.
Yeah, and so are we supposed to be rooting for that, or are we supposed to be like, no, you got to be like? I mean, we know how gentle in quotation marks Batman was in the first place, right? So are we supposed to be okay with that, or are we not as the reader? I don't know. Like the same as Jason Todd. Are we supposed to, like, when you read that comic, The Last Crusade that we read, you're like, oh, he's like way overstepping his bounds.
Yeah, Batman keeps making that point, and that's also part of the reason I was like, maybe Batman's gonna come back because she's been doing this for a little bit, and maybe she's getting a little overzealous with it.
Right.
So yeah, Batman's gonna be like, "Hey, Carrie, we're not doing. That's not the way we work." But
right, she seems to have gone a little Jason Todd in this to me.
Yeah.
So, and it wasn't okay in Last Crusade, but it's okay now, which seems weird to me, or at least it seems like it. He's saying it's okay now, so that's weird to me. And then the protesters leave. The protesters win, I should say. The Joker boys, they get called away. They say like, "Hey, we're losing, boss," and then the guy, whoever's on the other end of the phone, I guess tells them to retreat, so they retreat. Then we get it cuts to the Bat bunker, the Bat bunker, the new Bat cave, which is where I thought we were going to see Batman for the first time, but we do not. Batwoman is showing Laura and Jonathan around the Bat bunker. She just basically says, "Yeah, this is Wayne's thing. Batman's out," and they show like, oh, social media's like how the Joker boys are getting all this information out. And then this is where they make this big jump, which I didn't understand how they got here, and they don't explain. Batgirl or Batwoman's like, it's all because of Darkseid, and I'm like, what?
Well, yeah. How did you connect those dots?
Yeah.
Batwoman. How did you make the detective work there?
Yeah. How does that make sense? I don't get where she jumped to Darkseid, or unless she already knew that it was a thing, but they didn't show that in anything else.
Even still, that's just weird to throw into the middle of it.
Right, like everybody else is supposed to know about it. And then also, like, everybody else does know who Darkseid is, which is weird because we've never seen him in this universe. So maybe this could have been, like, the introduction of Darkseid or something. I don't know, We've never seen him in the Frank Miller world. We've only seen Lex Luthor, Brainiac, and the Kryptonians. So, I mean, I get that they just throw stuff in, like, if you didn't know what Kandor was. But they explain it in Dark Knight Strikes Again, what Kandor is. You know what I mean? This is just like a one shot, and they don't explain any of that. So yeah, Carrie says, yeah, it's Darkseid behind all this, and then it cuts to Joker, a new Joker. I don't know if this isn't supposed to be the same Joker. I don't think there's someone named Joker in this, And yeah, it seems like they're just like Darkseid is working with him, and they're rigging the governor election. Why does Darkseid give a fuck about an election for governor?
Yeah, I get Joker as part of it.
That makes sense. It's a city or whatever.
But yeah, why does Darkseid even care about Joker and an election?
I have no idea.
He has powers far beyond any of that.
Yeah, he's like a world eater. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like he's like Thanos or whatever. You know, like in fact, he's DC's Thanos. He is a god who, you know, can kill planets whole and all that. It's just like, why does he care about, you know, a governor's election? I don't know. But anyway, he's behind it, and then they just kind of show like him and Joker are, you know, they're together, but they're not like they're, you know, partners in this crime, but they're not like they don't like each other necessarily. And the part I got confused with, like, Joker even says like, "Oh, Joker can't die. Joker never dies." And I was like, are they saying that this is the same Joker, or is it just some rando that has now taken up the mantle of Joker? We don't know. They don't introduce it or say anything about it. And then we cut to Laura and Jonathan and Batwoman are going around, and they're trying to find out where Darkseid and, you know, Joker are, and they found where the Joker boys are hanging out, and now they beat them all up, and they have one of them, like Laura's holding one of them up. And you mentioned this too. I like Laura's costume in this because she has like the same costume she had on before, which is like a blue kind of spandex suit. And then, but she also has and it has an S on it.
Yeah.
And then she also has a Wonder Woman like jean jacket.
Black jean jacket. It reminded me of Superboy.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yes. That's exactly why I was like, oh, it looks like the 90s Superboy jacket, which is fun because it's a callback to something that everybody hates. Yeah. But I love that.
But for her, I was like, okay, that's cool. I could see it.
No, it's fun. Yeah, I liked it a lot. It'd be fun if they, you know, maybe he's supposed to be Superboy in this, and then he's got his John Lennon glasses on and his... Oh, man, that would be fantastic if the next comic he's in his teens and he's got all that stupid shit on. Oh, man. So, yeah, anyway, they're interrogating the last guy that's awake, and they're like, tell us where he is, and he looks like he's about to talk, and then Laura just snaps his leg,
breaks his ankle,
and then he's like, oh my god, I was gonna say, yeah, you know, I was gonna tell you, but, you know, I'm definitely gonna tell you now, please stop breaking things. It didn't even look like she snapped his ankle. It looks like she just crushes his like his lower shin bone. That doesn't sound fun, but anyway. So they find out where Darkseid is and Joker, where they're hanging out. Joker is like, I guess, getting ready to go down to the rally. He's putting on his little American flag jacket and, you know, suit or whatever. And he turns around, and Laura and Jonathan are just floating in the window. And they immediately shoot at Darkseid with their heat vision. Like, Jonathan there's like little kids working for them that are Joker children.
Yeah, they're like, I guess they're the ones who are doing the social media.
Yeah, because they know.
Because the kids understand it.
Yeah. So the kids were doing all the social media stuff. Little trolls, I guess, is what they're supposed to be. And Jonathan gets them out of the building, and then I guess I just know everybody else in the building's gone because they level the whole building. Then, like, Darkseid is like, ha, 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 you think you can fight me? I'm Darkseid. You're children. You know, you can't do shit. I guess Darkseid can, like, mesmerize people or something. I don't know that much about Darkseid.
Yeah.
But he, like, mesmerize people, like, humans specifically. So he makes them, like, fall under his, like, anti-life equation spell or whatever. And then he has these beams, which are one of the coolest things about Darkseid. He's got these eye beams that he shoots out called Omega beams. And they like don't just, or they're called the Omega effect in this, and they don't just go straight like Superman's. They like
he can
control them, so they like always bend and turn, and which is why I like this. The thought bubbles or the speech bubbles for him have those like weird twisty tails on them, and it's supposed to be, I think, like his Omega beams. So Batwoman and all the people around are just like we're listening to Darkseid, and then Laura is fighting him. And she's dodging all these, you know, dodging the same Omega beams that are trying to, like, get her. And then she's like, Jonathan, now, everything you got. And then, like, Jonathan is behind Darkseid and just blast him with his eyes.
They were, and it was like blue this time, so I was like, is it like a holding beam, or
What is it?
Yeah, what is the?
But apparently it's the same. It's just a more powerful version of the red eyes lasers or whatever, and shoots him, and then that distracts him long enough for Laura to basically make the beam, like it's following her, and then she comes up right in front of him, in front of Darkseid at the last second, and the beam hits him. So then Darkseid basically
explodes, kind of. He disappears.
He disappears. He disintegrates. The Omega beam just makes you turn into like antimatter or whatever. Like it just erases you from everything.
So you're like, oh, well, that was quick.
Yeah, it was like, wow, that was like a page and a half of fighting. There was with the
biggest villain.
Yeah, the strongest villain of the DC universe. Batwoman wakes up and she's like, what happened? And then they're like, we killed him. And they're like, she's like, really? And then it starts raining blood. And then like Jonathan's the one who deduces this. Everybody's like, what? It's raining blood. And then like Jonathan's like, oh, he's after revenge. Like Earth is basically crying blood because he's still alive or whatever, and he's gonna come back more mad, I guess. It was very weird. It was a very weird panel. Like, how does Jonathan know these things?
I don't know. Well, he says that they're like, oh, and they're like, and Jonathan's like, it's Darkseid, and then they're like, oh, he's coming back for revenge, and Jonathan's like, no, he's not coming back for revenge. He's coming back for me.
Right.
Like,
but he's coming back.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
How does he know?
How does he know that?
How do they know this? And then it shows this is like 2 pages of Darkseid is like, I guess it says I roar and a star explodes. So it's like he's reborn inside of a star.
Yeah, he is like reborn cosmic force, and then it's weird because he's like cosmic energy and matter, and then he like, I was thinking it was gonna be like Galactus Cloud kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's just how he travels through space.
Yeah, but then when he reappears, and then he's in physical form again. But it was weird.
So he's coming to Earth. You know, he's heading this way. I don't know how far away he is. And then when he gets to Earth, he like lands in like some tropical area. He looks gigantic and when he first gets there, but he's not gigantic when they fight him again. Yeah. So, but he looks all young now. He's like kind of more svelte.
He looks a little
blocky.
smoother.
Yeah.
And he's there to adopt 2 children and cleanse the earth.
Yeah. So he's like, oh, Laura and Jonathan are now going to be my children or whatever. Kind of like Thanos. Yeah. Did Frank Miller watch Endgame? Is that what happened? But anyway, so then we cut to, I guess at the same time all this stuff is going on with I was going to say Thanos now. With Darkseid. Joker robbed someone or did something bad, or Batwoman's after Joker. So he's got like an old 50s car, which was weird, I thought. I'm like, why is he driving like a 1940s Studebaker?
A car that goes like 50 miles an hour max.
Yeah. I mean, it's got white wheels, white sides on the wheels. Yeah. It's got like a weird, it looks like Bonnie and Clyde are on the run or whatever kind of car. So Batwoman jumps on the top of his car. He's got like a bunch of other guys in the car with him. And this scene is actually like the most non-Batman thing I can think of. She like surprises them. She's on top of Joker's car, and then she jumps to a civilian's car. I think she's like a target for Joker, so she's using the dude's car, and Joker's like shooting at her and driving straight for this other civilian's car that she's on top of, and she's like, "Yeah, we're gonna play chicken." He turns, the civilian turns to like not hit head on with a car, and it flips. And she's like, fine with it. I don't understand. Like, how are you okay with like endangering a civilian for no reason?
Yeah, and this is one of the parts because she's like, yeah, I did it. And I did. I'm hunting down Joker, and this happened, and the boss would be proud. And was like, I feel like he wouldn't be.
Yeah, I feel like he would have a problem with this, but whatever. It just didn't make sense. Like, why she thinks he would do this. And this was like one of those things where like I could see Jason Todd doing that. Like you don't think of like what's the safest and best way to stop Joker. It's just what's the best way to stop Joker right now at this immediate moment. And it would be, hey, I'm gonna sit on this person's car so that he runs into that dude. it just seemed like a very reckless thing for Batwoman to do, and then think that it was okay is weird. She even says like, "Boss would be proud."
Yeah.
So that's weird. And then I liked this scene a lot. This is like one of the best scenes.
Yeah, this was like a callback scene.
Yeah, this was a callback scene, but I really liked the art in this.
Yeah.
So Joker is on the, he's got his little election jacket on, his Stars and Stripes, and he's running with some of his Joker boys into an arcade. So it's kind of a callback to the original Dark Knight Returns, where, she was in an arcade and got attacked at the very beginning. So she runs, and apparently it's the same arcade. I don't know. She's like, oh, an arcade in Gotham. This is my old stomping grounds kind of thing. And so she kills the lights, and I really like this. They showed Joker. His like skin is super like white. You can see the Stars and Stripes on his jacket and everything still, but like the stripes are black, and then his jacket's white, and the stars are white. And then his eyes are like bloodshot red, and his pupils are green. So it looked really cool as far as the art goes in this scene. But like, this is where you see like her kind of being like Batman, where she's like, I take him out one by one, and then Joker starts shooting indiscriminately. He takes out some more for me.
Yeah, she says this is a part because she's like, yeah, we use fear as a tactic, and make them spread out, and yeah, that was cool. And then she like turns on one machine over here, and like so they like go that way, and then one machine over here. Like I like the screens popped up, and they kind of looked reminiscent of some kind of arcade game.
Yeah, and it was definitely like, okay, this was like the best Batwoman scene in this comic for sure. And then, she basically kicks Joker in the face, knocks him out. He's down. She texts Batman, hey, boss, clown is down. And he texts back a bat thumb.
She does
a
like heart emoji.
A heart emoji with a bat
symbol in it. So I guess Batman has his own emoji set. That's cool, I guess.
Well, if he's got his own satellites that can make, Krypton or Kryptonite rain, he better as well have,
I'm glad he took the time.
Yeah. So then we see on the news now it says Governor unmasked, and it's got Trump's face or whatever. It says like basically he meddled with the election with the Joker, like the Joker malfeasance or whatever. So yeah, like basically the Joker was trying to win the election for him through social media. So the Joker is Russia in this one. That's what I'm gathering. And so then wherever Darkseid was before, when he landed on Earth in the tropics, he now comes back to Gotham and like levels, I don't know, 6 blocks.
It was huge, yeah.
Just kills everybody there. They don't mention it or anything. It's very weird. Why wouldn't you just, if you know he's coming, why wouldn't you prepare and then like show up where he appears? You know what I mean? Yeah, I assume they have super hearing just like their pops, So you assume they're like listening out for a giant hurricane swell in the tropics when he lands and he's gigantic. They don't, and he appears in Gotham and he destroys like 6 blocks of Gotham. And then Laura appears and she's like, oh, I'll take you on just like last time. And then I don't know, he like holds her with, it's not his Omega beams. It's
like the Maelstrom.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. So there's some other move called the Maelstrom.
I get it's supposed to be, so like Maelstrom in general is supposed to be like a big like energy storm or whatever, right? So I guess it's like holding her power in somehow. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, it's like in the graphics, it looks like a swirly thing around her, whatever. And then he like somehow hypnotizes her with his like mind stuff.
Yeah, it's weird because she says, "I won't do," I won't fall, and then obviously she falls to it. But then like we don't really get anything from that. It's
like she's just under his spell, and then it's like, oh, now I'm gonna get you, Jonathan. And Jonathan's like, okay, I don't have a problem with this. And then he's like a smart mouth little kid who can take on Darkseid. Yeah. Darkseid shoots his Omega beams at him, and he just neutralizes them with his newfound neutrino vision.
Yeah, I did like that he called him an old fart.
Or neutron vision. I thought it was neutrino. It's neutron vision. Yeah, he does. He calls him an old fart. That's a very Frank Miller thing to say.
Yeah,
I don't know if a kid would say that nowadays, but whatever. Frank Miller would. So he shoots the Omega beams with his neutron vision, and it like totally makes it go away. And apparently, it also like weakens Darkseid somehow, because then Darkseid's like, ah, and he like, I don't know. He doesn't look the same. And then he grabs Jonathan and
I did like that. Yeah, he grabs him and like that was
Yeah.
cool. He's like, now I've got him in my grasp.
Yeah, and you thought, okay, it's gonna be like Game of Thrones when like the mountain grabbed the guy. It was not that though. Like this kid doesn't have any, like there was no struggle in this at all for Jonathan, which is weird to me because, like I said, this is the Darkseid is like the biggest, baddest bad there is in DC. So I don't know why you would make him this powerful.
This really was the weirdest thing because he grabs him and you're like, I figured he would like pull his hand open or something, but he like explodes and disappears.
It's very weird.
And
I don't
then
get
he's
it.
like he is invisible or something, or he is matter at this point or something.
It made it sound like it's in his brain or some shit. So Jonathan explodes in his hand, and then you can still hear Jonathan talking to him, and he says like, "I'm in your brain," so I don't know how or why or what. But anyway, Darkseid's like, I'll kill your sister then, and then he shoots his Omega beams at her, and she just vanishes. He makes her like Kitty Pryde, like she could tell, like what is it called? She can make herself non-corporeal or whatever.
Yeah.
Like she can vamp through things.
Phase in and out.
Phase. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. So then they both disappear.
Yeah, and he says, "We'll be right back." And I was like, Where is this power coming from? What is he doing?
Yeah.
He like popped veins in his
Yeah, he
head
said
or
he
whatever.
like broke, like he basically gave Darkseid like strokes or something, like embolisms. and then so Darkseid's like, and he's like in the middle of this crater still. And then someone throws a rock at him. I don't know if it was Jonathan or one of the people.
I think it's supposed to be Batwoman throws the rock.
Okay. And then he's like, and he bleeds. So he gets cut and it's like, and then you see like all the humans like, he's bleeding, get him.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah, and then Batwoman's leading the charge with all the humans like, let's get him. We always win. And she ends up with saying, we are thinking for ourselves now. Each of us, we're free. That's why we'll win. That's why we'll always win. And then it just ends. It just ends with, before they even kill Darkseid, and that's why we'll win.
Da-da.
Yeah. So, I really didn't like this comic. And I hope maybe the next one, if he does like a book again or whatever, we read that. We should read them as they come out. I don't know how long it'll take, but I definitely want to read trades. If the next one isn't a single one shot, then we'll just wait for the trade to come out of it or whatever. But
Okay.
If the comic book industry is still around at the end of this, but yeah. So, but I just can't believe how like nothing is explained in this. You're just supposed to accept Jonathan's like a genius god, and he's 4, and he like is smarter and stronger and faster and wittier and everything than Darkseid.
But it's still a kid.
But it's still a little kid.
Yeah.
And like Laura is same as always. She's never learned a lesson in the last 20 years of comics, which is weird to me. And then
Carrie's like slipping too, apparently.
Yeah, Carrie's like acting more.
All of Carrie's character growth of like actually being able to take over the mantle of Batman
is in question now.
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't know why, but it just did not feel correct. Which is weird because it's Frank Miller. He's writing his own stuff. He should totally have the same feel. Like that was the thing about every other book we read in this series. It felt like it belonged. This does not. This does not feel, as far as story and everything, doesn't feel like it belonged. And the story was way better in Last Crusade, which is also a one shot that is 60 pages. So it's not that he can't tell a story in 60 pages. That one shot had like even a backup villain. It even had Poison Ivy and Killer Croc and a whole subplot that didn't have anything to do with Jason Todd becoming evil or whatever, or being killed. And like that was a way better storyline. You know what I mean? So
yeah, we were talking before. Like it feels like there were a couple little things in this that could have easily like added and solved. Like why is Jonathan already, even though he's younger, why is he more sympathetic to humans? Like could have had a page of him and like with his mom talking about how like don't take the same path as your sister or something. Like look at all of this stuff about humans, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, just like something to show how he learned. Even if he was watching like PBS or some shit, like something where I like human stuff or whatever. I have an affinity for humans. Maybe that's why. They don't show any of that.
Humans create Sesame Street, ergo.
Yeah.
I like humans.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. I don't know. And then Laura just totally backslid into the character she was in like Master Race and Dark Knight Strikes Again. So I don't get that. And then like we said, Carrie's just, going down Jason Todd path kind of.
And no Batman.
That's the other thing. It's called Dark Knight Returns, the Golden Child. So it's not called Dark Knight Universe or something. Like I don't know. If it says the Dark Knight Returns on it, I would expect there to be a Batman more than an emoji, conversations. And Superman's only in one page at the very beginning.
He's just like, I'm going to work, kids.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anything else you want to say about this?
No. The only thing I will point that a lot of the art was really nice. Still, like I said, It felt like it. Batwoman's costume was cool. Laura's costume was nice. Jonathan kind of looked like Coraline a little, so I don't know.
She did kind of look, or he did look like Coraline.
But his little like weird longer sideburns was a little odd. But
yeah, he had like a widow's peak. He had like a premature widow's peak, which is interesting. He's like 4 and he's got like a John McClane widow's peak going on. But
yeah, no, I mean. It is what it is.
Yeah. So what'd you think? What would you give this one?
I liked elements of the story. I'm not going to say overall, like I hated it. It was horrible, but it definitely it fell out of place. And it definitely, again, the Master Race ended up being like really good in my book. Like I really enjoyed it. So I was like, oh, this will be the exclamation point on it. And it wasn't. And that,
at all.
The letdown, I think it is a little more for me. So I would say a 5.
Yeah. I'm going to give this one a 4.
Wow.
It's the first 4. Mainly just because it's not, the art is great in this. Like if this had a better story, but I felt the story in this was weaker than anything we've ever read.
The greatest villain in DC is like barely a challenge.
Yeah. And they don't explain why like Darkseid is even there. Why does he care about an election? Why is Joker there? Why, how did he come back? We don't know any of this shit.
For Batman Detective Comics, there's not much detective work in this.
Yeah, not at all. So yeah, John gives it a 5. I give it a 4. That is our lowest rating yet. So I guess on that note, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Well, folks, hope you enjoyed that episode.
If you did and you'd like to follow us on social media, our Facebook is Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, and our Instagram is @Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word.
And be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more recommendations to add to your weekly pull list.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.